I am particularly grateful to welcome members of our Pinnacle Society here today. I just want to thank you for your generosity in supporting our programs and for your foresight in thinking about us in your future plans. I feel incredibly privileged to be the dean at the school because what it allows me to do is I get a front row seat to see those faculty, to see the students, to see our postdoctoral fellows actually working in the labs to make those discoveries. And what excites me about today is I'm actually get the chance to invite you to that front row seat, to sit here. You're going to hear from one of our faculty members and one of our graduate students. You'll hear from our Cancer Center director. They're going to bring you into their daily lives and talk to you about how they make those discoveries. So you're getting a front row seat with me today to share in that. The Dartmouth Cancer Center is celebrating its 50th anniversary year this year. So we've been fully recognized by the National Cancer Institute since then. And it is really one of our inspiring stories about collaboration across the entire campus, including Dartmouth and Dartmouth Health. It spans every corner of our campus. And today's program not only features the director of the Cancer Center, but also includes a faculty member and a PhD candidate who are working together. And they're going to have a conversation with you around the work that they're doing. And what they're trying to do is lead the way to test possibilities for how a virus can be used to treat cancer. So it is my honor and pleasure to introduce our moderator today, Dr. Stephen Leach. So Steve is our director of the Cancer Center, and so Steve, take it away, introduce our panelists.
Great. Thanks so much, Dwayne. And thanks so much to everybody for being here today. It's so wonderful to do this again in person and see so many friends and meet new friends. And a wonderful turnout and a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed your lunch and will continue to enjoy your dessert. So as the director of the Dartmouth Cancer Center, I've now been here 5 years since moving up from Memorial Sloan Kettering. And I can honestly say that we would not be anywhere close to being the number 6 leading cancer center in the country when it comes to research innovation in the form of biotech startups without the generosity of donors like you, our wonderful Pinnacle Society. So thank you so much for your commitment to Dartmouth and Dartmouth Health. We couldn't be who we are. We couldn't do all the good that we do for the people of Northern New England and for the people of the world if it wasn't for your generosity. So thank you. It's been a big year for the Cancer Center. As Dwayne mentioned, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and earlier this year we announced the wonderful launch of the Byrne Family Cancer Research Institute, funded by a lead gift from dear Dorothy Byrne, a local Upper Valley philanthropist whose family, like so many of ours, has been touched by cancer. And Dorothy particularly was inspired to make her transformative gift by the generosity of others. So it's the support from the Pinnacle Society, the support from other donors that really gave Dorothy the confidence and the inspiration to make her gift. And the Byrne Family Cancer Research Institute moving forward is going to focus on big risk, high impact, big ideas to improve the lives of those who are suffering from cancer, improve the lives of their family, improve the lives of future generations. And we have a special focus on preventing cancer before it even starts, and in a manner that's going to make the lives of current cancer patients better and create new knowledge for the world. And so this gift from Dorothy was the first of its kind, supporting both Dartmouth College, the Geisel School of Medicine, and Dartmouth Health, and a wonderful example of what magic can happen through the partnership of these institutions. So it allows us to think big. And cancer is nothing if not a big problem. Unfortunately, half of us will be diagnosed with cancer during our lifetime. 1 in 4 of us will die of some form of the disease. This accounts for 600,000 deaths nationwide each year, 10 million deaths globally each year. And supported by your generosity, we're going to make a difference because supported by by you all. Here at Dartmouth, we have some of the world's best faculty and students doing cancer research to work on this big problem. So I'm thrilled to host a conversation today with Dr. Pamela Rosato, Assistant Professor of Microbiology and Immunology in the Cancer Center and at the Geisel School of Medicine at Dartmouth. And so Pam received her PhD here at Dartmouth and then did a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Minnesota, and she joined our faculty in July of 2020. And in world record time, just got the news last week that she received her first major NIH grant, a huge accomplishment, way ahead of schedule. And then we're also joined today by one of our wonderful PhD candidates, Jordan Isaacs, who's about to begin her 5th year towards the end of her PhD studies. Jordan is a native New Englander and a graduate of Smith College who's pursuing her PhD thesis work in Pam's lab. And they're going to share some of their work, as Dwayne said, looking at links between viral immunity and the ability of the immune system to fight cancer. And also it's notable that both Pam and Jordan were part of our successful Dartmouth Innovation Accelerator for Cancer, which is a partnership between our Cancer Center and the Magnuson Center for Entrepreneurship at Dartmouth College. And the accelerator remains one of our top priorities because it's the way we will bring Dartmouth discoveries to the world. So Pam and Jordan, thank you for joining us today. It's really great having you. And I'd like to start with you, Pam, and just ask if you could just tell us a little bit about your research and what specific questions you're trying to answer.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And also thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure really to get to know you guys and share this beautiful lunch. But so my lab, we're really interested in trying to understand how we can harness your own immune system to fight cancer. And approach we're really excited about is trying to harness the immunity you have that you've generated throughout your lives to viruses and try and hijack that response and use it against cancer. So, we've all been exposed and we've all been infected to, by flu, gotten the COVID vaccine, smallpox, or chickenpox, mono. And so all those exposures, your body generates immune memory, and specifically T cells. And these T cells are very long-lived, and their job is to really just fight that infection if you ever see it again. So they can, alert the rest of your immune system. They can kill infected cells. And what I found during my postdoc, which was really exciting, is that these memory T cells are actually within tumors. So we have these T cells that are really, their main function is to actually recognize viral reinfections, but they're in your tumors. And we were able to create a new therapy to kind of trick these cells into thinking they're seeing a reinfection within that tumor and really mobilize your own immune system to now fight that tumor as if it were a viral infection, but it's not, it's your tumor cells. So that's kind of what we're really excited about, and part of what Jordan's been working on too.
Great.
Yeah.
And just so we all understand, what's the form of the therapy that you imagine emanating from your discoveries that sounds like it's going to save lives?
So it's part of the virus. So it's not an actual virus. It's just little parts of the virus that these cells will recognize. So it's safe. Yeah.
And it sounds like a big part of this is that the immune system has a memory, as you alluded to.
Yeah, and that's the key part is your body is so good at generating protective immunity which is why we're not constantly infected all the time, because we're exposed constantly to microbes, infections all the time. You have immune cells that last years and years, sometimes decades, and we're trying to tap into these cells to then help your body generate immunity to those tumor cells.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And Jordan, tell us what's most exciting to you about doing this work.
I mean, I think you can probably hear from Pam the excitement of having someone be so excited about their research. And I think it helps me, come into the lab every day and put the work into really getting the experiments done. And I think it's a whole new world of opportunities. I think especially, given this current pandemic, we're all going to be exposed to viruses. And so I think, this idea of really being able to harness a virus to treat many different types of cancers is just really inspiring and really interesting to me.
Great. And so tell us where you are, Jordan, in your work, and just give us a little glimpse of what your day is like. What is it like to be a PhD student here at Dartmouth?
Yeah, so I am entering my 5th year. And so as Pam said, I'm working a lot on this project, really to use viruses to fight cancer, specifically in brain tumors, and potentially in other really difficult to treat cancers like ovarian tumors. And so I guess what my day-to-day looks like is probably coming in after maybe a big sip of coffee and some breakfast, and really getting to the bench and working on, we use different models to study our research. We have a lot of different types of cancer that we actually work with. We use different cell lines and things, and so it's really just getting in there and working with my teammates, my lab mates on ways to kind of harness this in the lab.
Yeah, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't realize is science is definitely a team sport.
Exactly.
Right? So
It is.
how many lab mates are there in the Rosato lab?
So we are definitely exponentially growing.
Yeah.
I think Pam saw a huge jump in, she's relatively new, and I think a lot of us graduate students have just latched onto her because you can tell she's like a very positive, inspiring person to be around. And so we have 4 graduate students right now. We have another 3rd year and then 2 second years.
Okay.
But we will be probably much bigger very soon.
Great. Wonderful. And so both of you have been deeply involved in the Dartmouth Innovation Accelerator for Cancer, which is really a novel concept where we're bringing to what was once might be considered an ivory tower, we're bringing an entrepreneurial way of thinking, recognizing that that's, again, the way that will bring Dartmouth discoveries to the world. So what's that been like for both of you?
Yeah, for me, it's been a really great and eye-opening experience. I think, as you alluded to, coming from the more academic background, you don't really get that that training, even just exposure to kind of the more biotech entrepreneur way of thinking, and frankly, sometimes it's quite intimidating. At least to me, it was quite intimidating by the thought of kind of taking something that we discovered or made in the lab and taking it to the clinic and having to kind of think about it in a way of how are we going to work with companies, or how are we going to kind of really facilitate this translation. So the accelerator program was great because it really created this kind of welcoming environment where people like me were not hesitant to ask those questions that I needed to ask to really get a handle on what it really meant to make kind of a therapeutic product and what it really takes to get it to the clinic. So just the environment and the support that that program had just really opened up my eyes, and it kind of made me think about the research in a little bit of a different way. Now really thinking more deeply about what we really need to do at the bench to get a therapy into patients.
Wonderful.
So it was great, yeah.
So we just completed our second round of the accelerator, and so in each of the first 2 years, we had 18 faculty-led teams go through the accelerator, and it provides funding to a select number of the teams, but it also provides a curriculum in how to think about shaping discoveries so they can have their greatest impact to improve people's lives. And so, Jordan, can you tell us a little bit about the actual accelerator curriculum and the program and what it was like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's it's a phenomenal program. It's really just something unique, I think, to Dartmouth. I think I know a lot of other PhD students at other institutions that don't have access to this type of experience. And we can get very immersed in our science and kind of forget the bigger picture, which is like ultimately to help patients at some point. And so we're really going through this training period. We meet once a week. We have some different assignments. We talk about, how to commercialize a product, how to build a team, how to, engage with these different regulatory steps. And so it really provides everything that a faculty member and maybe a graduate student would need to bring their invention or their innovation from the bench to an actual company to help patients and bring it to the clinic. So it's really extremely valuable for that aspect.
Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
And what was the specific discovery that you all proposed in the accelerator pitch?
Yeah, so we proposed the kind of the parts of the virus
Okay, I see.
that I talked about earlier, and the pitch was centered around certain modalities of how can we really fine-tune how we target these cells and what parts of the virus and how can we deliver it. So it's more kind of the developmental stage.
Good.
Yeah.
And you specifically focus on the immunotherapy of brain and other tumors, but brain tumors are obviously particularly challenging to treat, and there's a blood-brain barrier, and sometimes it's hard to get, tumor-fighting drugs into the brain. Is the immune system different in some way?
Yeah. I don't know if Jordan wants to talk.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what makes brain tumors so difficult and really why we don't have any available treatments, especially for, all these different types of cancers that are really common, like melanoma that actually end up in the brain. And that's what really ends up being the worst part of the disease. And so I think what's unique about our approach is that, we have the cells. Pam discovered during her postdoc work that the cells are actually there that we need to target.
Already.
So she found in these glioblastoma tumors, there were different T cells that recognize all different types of viruses, which is really unique in a tumor that we know is really resistant to other types of therapies.
Wow.
So we know the target's there, and we think potentially during surgeries and things that these patients unfortunately have to go under, like this could be something that's implemented.
Wow. Well, obviously exciting. Any advance there would be an incredibly important advance. So Pam, tell us a little bit from your perspective. You've been here as a student and now as a professor, as a faculty member. And from your perspective, what's unique about the Dartmouth Research Enterprise? And what advice would you share with other faculty and students about how to take advantage of this unique corner of the world?
Yeah, no, I love this question. And actually, we're just talking with my table mates about kind of why, what we love about the Upper Valley the most. And so I did my PhD here, and then I went to Minnesota to do my postdoc for 5 years. And one of the major reasons I came back was the research community here and the general community here is just so uniquely supportive and collaborative that I could see myself thriving here as a faculty. So it's, you in some academic institutions, you get people saying they want to collaborate, they're supportive, but there's always sometimes like this undertone of competition. In academia, you sometimes get that. But here, there's nothing like that. Everyone is just so genuinely supportive, genuinely just wants to see you succeed. And that is just really the major reason I came back. And that has really been true. I mean, like you said, I started my lab during a pandemic, which was just unprecedented and it was difficult, but the amount of support I got was incredible. And without that support, I definitely wouldn't have been able to get that grant, for sure. So the community, hands down, is so unique at Dartmouth.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
I think you got your grant obviously through your own vision and talent, but I think it does help to have a supportive
Oh, yeah.
community. And not to put too fine a point on it, but NIH grants are scored according to their percentile, and Pam's grant scored at the fourth percentile, meaning it was at the very, very, very top, the 96th percentile of all grants. Pam's was scored at the very, very, very top, and it's
Thanks.
hands down going to collectively wonders. And that's just rare air for someone to achieve at that stage of their career. Well, wonderful. And so before we open it up, for open Q&A, Jordan, I'm sure people would love to know, like, what are your plans, after you become Dr. Isaacs?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal to hear that. Thank you. So I'm actually kind of a unique case of a PhD student. I studied neuroscience and economics in college. And so I kind of knew that I wanted to find a career at the intersection of business and science. Didn't really know what that would look like, though. And so what I've found throughout my 4 years here so far is that I'm really interested in life science venture capital. So really being, the person that gets to decide, similar to what we did, pitching our own science, what things really need to be funded and be driven through trials. And particularly in underserved populations, so gynecologic malignancies and things affecting women's healthcare. And so I'm really interested. I think venture capital really drives a lot of the scientific innovation from the bench to the clinic. And so that's something I'm really, really interested in pursuing. And I've taken on a fellowship as well part-time to really explore that further.
Great.
So a little odd, but I think it's, hopefully I think we all have PhDs were trained really to think critically about problems, and there's just a lot of opportunities and options for us. So
Oh, wonderful. And just a wonderful way to do good in the world, which is, I think, an intrinsic part of a Dartmouth education.
Yeah,
Right?
and I should say Jordan's entrepreneurial spirit was so critical for the Dartmouth Accelerator. I learned a lot from Jordan, not just the Accelerator.
Yeah.
She's been phenomenal.
So faculty learning.
Yes, for sure.
It works both ways.
sure.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks. If people can't tell, it's really fun to be the director of the Dartmouth Cancer Center, because I get to bask in the reflected glory of incredible world-class talent, again, made possible through your generosity.
Thank you so much. That was really a fascinating discussion. I'm an RN, and I find discussions like this so fascinating. It's really interesting to see what the future of cancer treatment is all about. I'm Carla Manley Rosato. This is my friend Bill Nelson. We are the co-chairs of the Pinnacle Society. We've both been co-chairs for about 3 years. This is the first time, because of COVID, obviously, that we've had the opportunity to meet other members of the Pinnacle Society, and we want to thank you one and all for joining us today. I've been asked why I joined the Pinnacle Society. I have been a longtime donor, and I'm very proud of this title. I'm the fairy godmother of the Face of a Child program here at Dartmouth Hitchcock. I've been involved with this program for many years, and I wanted to make very, very sure that I could keep on supporting this very special program for years and years to come. So that's why I'm here today. Bill?
Thanks, Carla. I'm Bill Nelson, and with Carla, I'm excited and honored to be a co-chair of the Pinnacle Society. And as you've heard today so eloquently from Steve and his colleagues about how the critical support that we provide and others provide really contribute to cancer research and the development of new treatment modalities. So it's really exciting to learn about that, and just the wonderful people that work with you, Steve. Clearly, through our gifting, we can give support to these types of activities. And to me, it's a really smart and wise and thoughtful way to invest, whether that's through estate planning or through wills. For me, I might just say a word or two about our decision. For me, as a healthcare ethicist and philosopher and professor at Geisel, we made the decision, that is my wonderful wife and I, to make a estate planning gift, mainly because we want to expand the important ethics footprint in education at Geisel. Because just as you learned about the incredible importance of cancer research, to give our physicians the skills, the tools to provide the optimum in care for cancer, those same physicians have to struggle frequently with ethical challenges. So that's why we embed ethics into the teaching, so that they can advance their knowledge and skills in that area, just like through Steve and his colleagues in the cancer centers, they're learning how to best treat cancer. So if you would like to learn a lot more about the Pinnacle Society, if you're not a member, you can certainly talk with Katie Blackman, who's the new director of planned giving, with her great colleagues, and then Amanda, who helps with all these events and planning and alumni relations. So I just want to again thank you, as Carla and I want to express our appreciation for your being here today, and just have a great day. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can put it on your calendars, and I'm assuming that it's not in 2 days. The next meeting is on the 29th of June, of the Pinnacle Society.
In 2023.
Yeah.
Now you know why we're co-chairs.
Thank you.